Something incredible has just happened. The interstellar comet known as 3I Atlas has re-emerged from behind the Sun after slingshotting around its closest point. But what it's doing now has scientists both thrilled and utterly puzzled. Suddenly it's glowing brighter, turning an unexpected shade of blue and accelerating in ways that simply don't make sense. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory has confirmed it. Atlas is experiencing what's known as non-gravitational acceleration, a subtle but undeniable push that can't be explained by gravity alone. If that sounds familiar, it should. Remember Oumuamua, the first interstellar visitor ever detected? It showed the same bizarre behaviour, sparking years of debate about whether these mysterious travellers could be something far more than natural. Now, history seems to be repeating itself. Just before its closest approach to the Sun on October 29, 2025, scientists noticed Atlas brightening far beyond what any normal comet should. This sudden surge in luminosity, a phenomenon usually associated with a comet breaking apart, was baffling. It even appeared to change colour. Meanwhile, the far side of the Sun was erupting with massive flares and coronal ejections, and 3I Atlas passed straight through that cosmic storm, a tempest of superheated plasma and intense radiation. Yet, despite the chaos, it stayed on course, emerging intact. That wasn't the surprise. The real shock came afterward, when NASA recalculated its orbit based on new observations. The numbers didn't add up. The comet wasn't where it was supposed to be. So, JPL's navigation engineer David Farnocchia added two new parameters to the orbital model, A1 and A2. These are terms used to describe tiny, continuous accelerations not caused by gravity. They typically account for things like jets of gas venting from a comet's sun-warmed surface, or, in extremely rare cases, forces we don't yet understand. In Atlas's case, both parameters turned out to be non-zero, a highly unusual result. According to Farnocchia's data, the comet is being gently pushed away from the Sun by a few hundred kilometers per day squared. But more strangely, it's also being pushed sideways by a smaller, persistent force. Something is nudging it off its purely gravitational path. That might sound dramatic, but in astronomical terms it's barely detectable. The kind of shift you only notice with precision instruments. Still, something is clearly propelling it. The most obvious explanation? Outgassing. When sunlight heats a comet's icy crust and causes jets of vapour to erupt, pushing the body slightly off course. It's a normal process, and most comets do it. So why all the commotion about 3I Atlas? Because of how violently it brightened, how fast it happened, and what colour it turned in the process. Shortly after NASA's update, Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb released an analysis of the data. His question was simple. What's physically causing this acceleration? If it's natural, then the comet must be shedding mass to produce that thrust. And we should be able to estimate how much. Based on the standard ejection speeds observed in typical comets, Loeb calculated that Atlas would lose enough material, primarily ice and dust, to cut its mass in half in about 6 months. This rapid disintegration would fuel an immense glowing tail, a cosmic trail of debris stretching for millions of kilometers. This spectacular display would be visible to telescopes and spacecraft positioned all across the solar system, offering a clear test of his hypothesis. This prediction sets up a crucial observational window. In fact, the JUICE spacecraft, currently positioned favourably for observation, could detect that plume as early as November. Then, when Atlas makes its closest approach to Earth on December 19th, a distant but observable 269 million kilometres away. a fleet of our most powerful eyes will be ready. Telescopes on the ground, along with the Hubble and James Webb Space Telescopes, will all be watching closely. If they see a massive outflow of gas and dust, it would strongly confirm the natural explanation. But if they don't, something far stranger is at play. Adding to the puzzle, early data already hinted at something unusual. Images from the Stereo and GOES-19 observatories showed Atlas's brightness increasing nearly 7 times faster than expected for a comet of its size. Even more surprising, it appeared bluer than the Sun, a colour no ordinary comet should have. This wasn't just a minor anomaly, it was a fundamental contradiction of cometary behaviour. Normally, comets reflect sunlight off dust particles, a process called scattering, which gives them a yellowish or reddish hue. A deep blue tone, however, usually means we're seeing glowing, ionized gas, which requires a much higher energy process than simple solar heating. The colour suggested Atlas was not just a passive dusty snowball, but something active and energetic, or something else entirely. Loeb proposed 2 possibilities. One is natural. Perhaps it's glowing from ionized carbon monoxide, which emits blue light when struck by ultraviolet radiation. The other, more daring idea. What if the object itself is generating heat or light, an artificial power source of some kind? He isn't claiming it is technological, only that we shouldn't ignore the data because it challenges our assumptions. Despite the speculation, JPL's measurements are real. The comet's motion truly is being nudged by an unknown force. But let's keep perspective. Even if that push continued for a month, it would shift Atlas only tens of thousands of kilometers off course, nowhere near enough to threaten Earth or any planet. It's still heading safely toward Jupiter's orbit and beyond. So yes, 3I Atlas continues to behave like a comet, just not like any comet we've seen before. Its sudden dramatic brightening and unpredictable activity have kept astronomers on high alert. The next few weeks may finally tell us if we're dealing with a natural, albeit spectacular, outburst, or something truly unprecedented in celestial mechanics. Recently, astronomers captured a striking image that deepens the mystery. Atlas blasting a 10,000-kilometre-long jet of gas and dust directly toward the Sun. The picture, a composite of 159 stacked exposures from the Teide Observatory, reveals a magnificent fan-shaped plume radiating from its nucleus. This anti-solar jet is a breathtaking sight, and it confirms Atlas is very much alive, powered by an engine we don't yet understand. This perplexing behaviour prompted a swift global response. Earlier this week, the International Asteroid Warning Network, in coordination with NASA and the United Nations, launched an emergency tracking probe after the comet's erratic motion triggered global alerts. This historic mission marks the first UN-backed planetary defense campaign ever conducted for an interstellar object. While officials stress this is not a response to an immediate threat, it is a crucial, full-scale rehearsal for handling future cosmic dangers. The goal is to gather data, test our response systems, and prepare for the unknown. And by a stroke of cosmic luck, 2 advanced spacecraft are already in the region. ESA's Hera mission and NASA's Europa Clipper are both in ideal positions to intersect Atlas's vast ion tail in the coming weeks. These probes, designed for other missions, have been retasked for this unique opportunity. If either manages to collect data from its particles or magnetic field, it could be the first time humanity directly samples pristine material from a visitor that originated far beyond our own star system. Meanwhile, the JUICE probe will monitor the comet throughout November during its most active phase. However, because it's currently using its antenna as a heat shield, its findings won't reach Earth until early 2026. Avi Loeb has urged the scientific community to remain vigilant. He warns that Atlas might represent a black swan event, a rare, high-impact surprise that only makes sense in hindsight. Perhaps, he says, it's a natural comet that just happens to behave in a way that challenges what we think we know. Or perhaps it's something more. A messenger from a civilization long gone, or a fragment of ancient technology disguised by time and distance. Whatever it is, 3i Atlas has already rewritten our expectations. Every time humanity peers into the void, it finds something that defies the rules. And maybe, just maybe, that's the point. What do you think? Could this interstellar wanderer be hiding something? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy exploring the mysteries of the cosmos, don't forget to subscribe, because the story of 3i Atlas is only just beginning.